Welcome to episode 113 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Well, Hillary.
Hi!
We're back here again!
My favorite. I gotta tell you, I heard more garbage, but I heard a lot about that rant that I went on last week.
Ooh!
I know.
Good.
Rants.
They were all lovely rants.
They were. And so it turns out, I don't know, some sort of a coincidence, we didn't time it, but that episode dropped the morning of the Don't Say Gay vote. And we found out, or no, it was the day before, so that we found out later in the afternoon on that Wednesday that Chip LaMarca, who I fucking ripped a new goddamn asshole, he decided to vote no with 6 other Republicans who were all given permission by leadership. They have to go to Republican leadership and ask if they can vote against this.
I gotta
so they can come back to their heavily LGBTQ districts and not be
pretend
strung up and hung or whatever.
And pretend like they're an ally.
Right. So,
and it's not right. And I said this to you in a text, or maybe I said it to our friend Nancy Fry, that it's not right that you get to check the box and act like you're an ally when you did nothing, when you weren't on the floor, when you didn't fight against it, when you weren't vocal the entire time, and now you get to go, oh, I didn't vote for it. Like, to me, that is such a cowardly shit move.
Didn't vote for any of the amendments that would have watered this down and made it better. He voted for all of those amendments.
No accolades. They do not deserve any accolades.
So that's what the next. So we hear this comes out. He says he's not going to vote for it. It's in the paper. It's all over the place. And
he gets airtime.
And then the next day when he actually votes no, Democrats, Equality Florida, some Democrats and Equality Florida were all like, thank you to the Gang of 7.
Oh, please. They don't deserve anybody's thanks.
Honey, they don't deserve our thanks. They don't deserve our gratitude. And you know why? Because it dawned on me this morning of why I feel like this. Let me tell you why. Because I know I said, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you if you vote for this. And now he voted against it. I'm still going to say fuck you, and here's why.
Yeah.
Because there are votes that aren't Democrat or Republican. They're fucking human. They're human votes, like abortion, right? Because when you vote for that, you put my life in danger and any other person with a uterus in this fucking state. And the Don't Say Gay bill, it's a human vote. And so you're supposed to vote no.
Right.
We shouldn't be wondering how the fuck you're going to vote. Because your past speaks for itself.
Right.
You voted last year against trans children. We can't count on your vote, so it's a surprise.
But this
it shouldn't be a surprise
that you're going to be. Means nothing.
It means nothing, but it shouldn't. That's what you're supposed to do. You don't get thanks and gratitude for something you're supposed to fucking do as a representative who, he doesn't just represent District 93. His vote and all of these votes affect every single person across this state of Florida. So you don't get my thank you or my gratitude for something you're supposed to fucking do. Be a human being. How about you're supposed to support women and girls and anyone with a uterus in this fucking state? How about that vote? You know?
Yeah, that vote's not.
You're not coming back to Broward a hero, and we're going to make sure of it. We're going to make sure that everybody knows who the fuck you are. That's not going to stop. I will see you at Bobby Rubino's, and I will fucking yell at you. Like, that's going to happen.
Bobby Rubino's. And I can't get over... I really can't get over the accolades that we're sort of pouring in. I really can't, because it's not fair. It's not fair that they know that it's going to pass with or without them.
That's right.
So now they get to pretend like they're a fucking hero when they did nothing the entire time.
That's why.
Because if you really cared, and I said this to you, like you said last week, like there was the Republicans will talk about their bill and everyone stays silent. They all stayed silent.
Yep.
They all stayed silent. Like having this final thing at the end to try to prove that you're somebody that you're not.
Yeah.
Like we see through the bullshit.
Yeah. You are never going to get a thanks from me. You know when you'll get a thanks from me? When you're fucking voted out. I'll say thank you for your wasting fucking 4 years of my life.
Yeah.
And
ruining our district.
Contributing. Your name forever will be down in the history books of Florida that you were a Republican who supported some of the fucking most dangerous legislation this state has ever fucking seen. That will never go away. That history will remember every single one of you fucking bigoted motherfuckers. Everyone will remember the people who put women and girls and anyone with a uterus in the most dangerous fucking place. I was talking to a friend about this morning about abortion. Like I told you the last episode, we're going to have to travel our asses up to fucking North Carolina. Well, guess what? All of these safe havens for abortion, which North Carolina, I'm shocked, but I'm sure that'll change soon. But they'll copy and paste this bullshit, right? But they're overrun with cases, with patients.
Because there's several states only having one location to go to.
Yeah, they're all rushing there. So, and also, when you're pregnant and you don't want to be anymore, you're on a fucking ticking clock.
Yes.
So you've got so many weeks, depending on the state. I mean, it used to be 20 weeks here, but, or, you know, whatever, 22 weeks. But now you're on a ticking clock. And if their schedule is backed up, and by the way, by the time you realize you're pregnant, you're already now on a 5-week time click, right? So like, you've got to transportation, money, get on the book somewhere to get the abortion. Like, this is insane what they're fucking doing.
Well, and the other thing that is the scary thing about this is that, you know, abortions are different at different stages now than they were 20 years ago. You know, you can take a pill, and the thing that is very scary and worrisome to me is young girls ordering pills online. And who knows what the hell they're going to take. And it's going to be a modern day version of the hangers, you know,
That's
like symbolically. We're going to put our kids at risk of having to do a desperate thing, and they have to trust that what's coming in the mail is going to be safe for them.
It's so weird because after the Texas abortion ban last year, that's all I saw were like ads for like a home abortion, or people promoting like, hey, if this happens to you, here's a place where you can order it. And I thought to myself, if you could buy a bottle of fucking aspirin, like a scumbag would, and put it up and say, this is an abortion pill, that's a possibility that they're getting this fucking Tylenol or something.
Or if it's laced with something that will kill them. Or, you know, why are we doing this to people?
Because they have never in the history of the fucking world valued women's bodies or women, period. Point blank, period. They don't fucking value women at all. Democrats too. They don't value us.
No.
So it's entirely fucking frustrating. So what passed? Don't say gay passed. And let's talk about what that is, because that'll be showing up at your doorstep wherever the fuck you live next. And that is, you cannot in schools, a child, by the way, they added a great amendment that passed, that a child comes to their teacher where they feel safe and they come out. That teacher now has 30 fucking days that they're mandated to tell it to the parents.
Yeah.
So, and sounds like a great way to send that kid home every day, right?
And not all of these, not every family, obviously, with these bills demonstrate that there are people who are very much against the LGBTQ community. And so now you're going to put children at risk of being homeless, of being thrown out, of being having to go to conversion therapy,
suicide rates. Hello,
these are children. I don't understand. Like, and for, you know, for teachers who are openly gay,
oh my god,
can they talk about their, you know, I as a teacher, like, I'll go, oh, my husband, blah blah blah, you know, like you mentioned things like you're with these people every single day. How was your weekend? Oh yeah, we did this. So now they can't talk about their partners. They can't mention anything, because God forbid then a kid goes home and says, oh, my teacher said, you know, her wife, and then some teacher then now is sued. Is going to be sued?
Well, listen, let me say something else. I'm 30.
Whatever, sue me.
I was 30 when I had my daughter, right? So I'm 30 years out from 7th grade where she's in school. Nobody came out. Nobody was out. In high school, nobody was out. You maybe had an idea. Although I was, my friend Jordan, who's listening, and a patron. Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
We used to make out in his bedroom after school, and we'd eat these Reason candies and watch like
soap
operas.
Oh my God,
watch
Reason.
soap operas, and it was delicious.
That's like a grandma
he loved this, like, he loved this. It wasn't spearmint. What's the other one?
Wintergreen.
He had this wintergreen gum. It was delicious. Anyway, we would make out. He came out later on. I had no idea. Maybe it was a soap opera. I should have known. I have no idea. Anyway, nobody came out in high school. Like, that wasn't a thing.
No. Well,
my sister's friends.
And kids were also, I remember kids who were suspected of being gay,
and
being bullied. And,
right.
And
good point.
Treated
Such
horribly.
A good point. Such a good point,
horribly.
Tina. Yeah. Because my daughter's now, like I said, 30 years behind me. What has happened in the last 3 decades is fucking incredible. And it's a credit to every LGBTQ person who stepped out of the closet and said, I'm no longer going to hide who I am. And it made it a normal thing in our society, which is what it should be, what it always should have been. So my daughter starts middle school and a girl's like, I'm bi. I'm non-binary. They're literally using correct pronouns.
Yes.
And they go, cool. My daughter will literally roll these pronouns off when she's talking about her friends that are all different. Like, we don't, or they're not, all of the things that, and they're eating lunch. They're like, I'm gay. And they're like, cool, pass the fucking ketchup. Yeah. The teachers are open. Her favorite teacher, who's an incredibly amazing science teacher at the school. I mean, he's a doll baby, and took her under his wing and like, totally made her like the favorite student, and she just loves this man. Openly gay. Talked about his partner.
Yeah, what are we doing to people?
But the progress we made, we're trying to stop progress.
Yeah, you can't stop progress though.
And the suicide rates, I guarantee, have gone down in gay children. There's no doubt about it over the last 30 years. Why are you endangering people's lives, children's lives? To attack children is the most cowardly thing I've ever fucking seen. And they should all be ashamed. They should all be ashamed.
You know, I had a student who had come out as, this was a while ago, who had come out as trans. Mm-hmm. And openly talked about it. And some kids in that classroom were like, what does that mean? Like, what? And they had this beautiful conversation.
Yeah.
And like, what would happen now? I really find it unfair and terrible. Like, these are kids, you know what I mean? Wow. Like, you want to be an asshole to adults.
Yeah.
But these are children. I don't understand it. I think all of it is just garbage.
Well, okay, so that's it. Like, listen, not that that's it, but this is the time. Like, this is the time to start showing up for this community and all communities. Like, allies, cisgender, straight allies. Our place is to support and to show up. And to not jump in front of a trans person and say, you should be giving them their rights. Yeah. To stand behind them and allow them to speak for themselves. Right. Because they're perfectly capable, believe me, of doing that. But to be supportive. I bought this shirt on...
I love it.
I bought it on Amazon.
I love the font.
Bezos heavy. But it says protect trans kids. I am going to walk around all day shopping and doing the things I need to do as a straight, white, cisgender ally. I'm not looking for a pat on the back, but what I'm saying is we need to silently, if it's a silent protest by wearing a shirt, let everybody around you know that we need to start standing up, and that they need to be aware that there are children that are under attack, and they need to be aware of it. I don't even give a fuck if somebody says something to me. I tell them to go stick it right up their fucking ass.
Let's go.
It's time. It's fucking time.
And the thing is, and I don't know if I'm making a huge stretch here, but we have women being attacked. We have our LGBTQ community being attacked. We have our schools now restricting
the woke
history, about what we can talk about in terms of Black history or about Nazi Germany. And we currently, a war has happened, right? We have Ukraine who has been invaded by a power maniac dictator that I have to think about. How do I talk to my kids about what the hell is happening? Because we grew up and it was, there was Desert Storm and the Iran-Contra and, even the war on terror that wasn't, it wasn't an invasion of we're going to go take over, right? They were all wrong. But this is something different. Yeah. And this is very dangerous. This is the closest that we are to World War III. You know what I mean? And we have people in this country, like our governor and the former president, who sit and are celebrating what this man is doing. And these Republicans who are celebrating what Putin is doing. And it's not a far leap to say, if we have people like DeSantis remaining in power, someone like Trump getting reelected during this kind of chaos, what is going to happen in this country? Because then they're going to end up supporting that man. Right. And that is a dangerous, like we are on the brink of we either unite, because this should be the time that we are united. It's the end of democracy as we know it. And the thing that is so stupid that these Trump supporting Republicans don't understand is that this guy has been planting seeds for years to sow division in our country, to sow this division. And now we're divided. And he's not stupid. No. Everything has been calculated with him. Now we are weak. And that's just what he needs, is for another superpower to be weak. While he wants to go, run across, and he's not stopping at Ukraine. He's going to push to Poland, and then that's it. Then what? And it doesn't, and the ideas of that guy, when we have a bill like that the anti-mob bill that our Governor DeSantis put forward, and you see people in Russia who are going to die, those protesters that are protesting against that war because it's not allowed, they don't have that freedom of assembly, those who got arrested, they're going to die. You think they're going to go sit in jail and stay there? They're going to be killed. And you want to support and praise someone like DeSantis, who's doing similar things in our state? It's garbage. Like, there are parallels, and it's like wake up.
Oh, wake up. Wake up. Wake the fuck up.
God damn it.
It's so true. It's so true. And it's, again, I think I said this a couple weeks ago, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I said it at when I was at that caucus. I don't need you to be fucking, have the passion that Tina and I share. We have enough passion to fucking fuel the whole state to flip this motherfucker. That's how fucking fired up we are every second of the day about politics. We are. Yeah. We have passion. And everybody we hang out with is the same way. Yes. That's all we talk about.
Yes.
It's all we talk about. Midterms, who's getting elected, who's a piece of shit, who can we get out, how are we going to fight this? Holy shit, we're fucking dry. Like, we have enough passion to fuel this. We don't need you to be passionate. We don't need you to stay that informed. But what I need you to do more than anything is to vote.
Vote.
And I will give you all the tools you need. Please.
Oh my God. We should do?
Send us an email.
We should make a Muck Podcast voter toolkit.
Yes.
That you guys can download.
Voter toolkit.
We're doing it. We're going to do this.
Here's the other thing.
We're going to do this.
Because we have listeners all across the country. Yes. I mean, Florida, I can tell you off the back of my hand. But if you're in a Michigan, a New York, a California, and you're not as informed as you'd like to be, we will do that for you. We will look up and say, okay, who the fuck we should be looking at in this county? Please, there is no excuse anymore. Your vote, I can't even...
It's the most powerful thing that you have.
I can't even explain to you. And if I put a post up today with this shirt saying, please everybody stand up for the trans community, but what I really said was, it doesn't even matter if there's an anti-trans bill in your state right now. Call your state rep
and just say you don't want anything like that.
This is how I feel about the trans community. How do you feel? And if they don't give you the answer that you're looking for, you say, you have just lost my vote. Yeah. And believe me, it's the biggest boner killer they're ever going to hear. They want that vote. They want that power. And you say to them, you've lost my vote, and I'm going to tell all my friends and family in your district that they shouldn't be voting for you because you don't support the trans community, or you don't support abortion rights, or you don't support, democracy. So, that's what we can do. Threaten them where they fucking live, and that is in the voting booth. They want that vote more than anything in the world. So just take it away.
Which is why they're restricting voting access.
Right.
That's why they're restricting voting access.
Right. So we need to make sure that we're right on top of that, Rose. Okay, I have a whole other thing, but you know what? I'm just going to skip it, and I'm going to tell you this, that this coming Wednesday, because this is Saturday. So Wednesday, I am recording an episode of That Record Got Me High.
I can't wait.
So excited.
It's been
it's been months. I booked it October.
Yeah.
But Rob, who hosts That Record Got Me High, I sent him a message and I was like, yo, it's been a minute since I've been on the podcast. And so he's like, yeah. He goes, what do you want to do? Nah. Honey, you know what I'm bringing to the table. I am bringing Phoebe Bridgers.
Oh, yes. This is the happy news I need today.
Yes, we're going to do Punisher. And so he's like, do you want to do Zoom or in person? I'm like, no, we need to do in person because I'm going to be wearing my skeleton Phoebe Bridgers outfit.
Oh, my God.
I'm going full Phoebe.
I love you so much.
Yeah, I'm going full Phoebe. So
Yay.
I'll go record over at Rob's on Wednesday.
And we're going to be tagging Phoebe Bridgers everywhere with this.
I know. I love it so much. Just please look at me, Phoebe. Look at my eyes. Look how much I love you. So we'll record on Wednesday. It should come out Saturday, March 5th. Which, by the way, is a day before my birthday.
Oh, isn't there a birthday celebration happening soon?
Yes. So, and then
I need a birthday celebration.
Yes.
I'm going to be falling everywhere.
There's going to be a couple. That's okay. So we're going to do Thursday roller skating,
Oh,
Friday karaoke. Yes! Bitch, we're going up big this year. We are going big.
Yes.
We're going to celebrate that girl. We're going to celebrate her.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So roller skating and then karaoke.
That sounds so
And I confirmed
fun.
it. I confirmed it last night with Justin. I was like, would you do karaoke after roller skating? He goes, well, let's see how roller skating goes. I'm like, no. And Emma said definitely karaoke and roller skating. So
I can't wait. Oh, this is exciting.
yeah, it's gonna be a good next week
Everything's
or 2 weeks, I guess, but it'll be really good.
Party!
Girl, I can't take it anymore. We gotta enjoy the little things, I suppose.
Yes.
All right, let's get you ready.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're first.
I am first. I am gonna tell you about the Lynwood Vikings.
What?
I know.
Like Vikings with the... No.
I didn't go that international. Remember last week you were like, we can do international. Yeah, no, not that. Okay, so the Lynwood Vikings is one of many what are called deputy gangs of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Now, you might have touched on this. This is going to sound a little familiar because one of your stories kind of hit this a little bit. I had to go back and listen to the episode because I was like, I know this person's name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So these gangs like appear to fit the definition of what a gang is according to this penal code, right? So they call them deputy gangs.
I love this.
I know. So, and they're all in different departments, right? And it's always like, a group inside of whatever that station is. And so the Lynwood station is in Los Angeles.
I've never heard of this.
I know. It is wild. So the Lynwood Vikings faction was based at the now defunct Lynwood station of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, whose members were sworn deputy sheriffs in the department. Its members have included Paul Tanaka, who I'll talk about a little bit. He was a deputy sheriff, and the second in command to the sheriff, Lee Baca. Now, you covered Lee Baca on episode 73. He was a corrupt sheriff because he was basically sanctioning violence in the jails, remember?
Yes.
It was huge. And there was a big federal investigation, and he got taken down. And Paul Tanaka, was his second in command, his lieutenant, blah, blah, blah. He also got wrapped up in that federal investigation and eventually goes down. I think he's still in prison. I was looking it up. Yeah. So that's in episode 73. It's a great episode because it's also, it's the episode called Benefilery, where I talk about how Lee Baca was giving celebrities gun licenses and Ben Affleck got it. And it was right when Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez got together and you say, what about Bennifer? And I was like, oh, shit.
You're like, I want a Bennifer
match or something. I was like, listen, contact me. I will be in a throuple with you two. Jesus Christ.
God. That's when they were like on the boat, right? There were pictures of them on a
and they're still together. Can you believe this?
Good for them.
Yeah,
just be happy.
I mean, she is just stunning. I mean,
she has always just been gorgeous.
And doesn't look like she's done anything to her face. Do you know what I mean? Like, it looks like just this natural, age progression. No,
she does not. Yeah, she doesn't,
Yeah, they start to look a little funky.
Yeah,
they look a little,
and
which God bless. They're in an industry where this is a terrible thing. That
However, I would rather
don't go too far.
Don't go too far.
No.
Some of these actresses, I'm like, wait, what? Why?
I know.
Why? Vanity,
it's very sad. Yeah,
what another harm that we have done to women because men are still permitted to age gracefully.
Yeah.
And women are not allowed that. But there are some female actors.
Yeah, I was thinking a Meryl Streep. I don't know if Meryl Streep did anything done, but her skin looks incredible.
Yeah.
The other one is she did all those Woody Allen movies and she still stands up. Diane Keaton. I think she looks good.
has not had a lot of work done at all.
I think she looks good.
Is it the Maggie
Gyllenhaal?
No. The older lady.
Oh, who's with what's her name?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about.
But she's aged, but she still looks like a beautiful older woman.
Such beautiful skin.
So that's what I want.
Me
See
too.
my beautiful skin, my Italian skin.
Oh wait, let's pose for a minute.
Hi. We are just ridiculous.
Speaking of skin, by the way, my pool, I hired a pool person. A pool company, so my pool is looking fabulous. And by the way, it's getting a little warm out.
Summertime pool parties.
We're gonna be able to start laying out again. Thank God.
Thank God.
All right, let's get back to these LA Sheriff Department gang banger motherfuckers, all right?
Okay.
So what does the law consider a gang, right? So under section 186.22 of the California Penal Code, a criminal gang is described as any organization or group of 3 or more people that 1 has a common name or identifying sign or symbol, 2 has as one of its primary activities the commission of one of a long list of California criminal offenses, right? So they're committing crimes. 3, whose members have engaged in a pattern of criminal gang activity, either alone or together, right?
Okay.
And so based on this description, that's why they call these little groups of deputies gangs. Because
So wait. So these deputies are all committing crimes, and there's pockets of them all over LA.
So let's say, here we have the Broward Sheriff's Department, right? And so you got Pompano Beach, right? And so inside this is not a thing. I'm just making it for a reference. Don't knock at my door, Pompano.
Hypothetical.
Let's say let's say the 100 deputies that work there. There'll be 20 of them that roam together and do these things,
bad things,
and they call themselves a group.
Oh God, how disgusting!
Oh my God, girl, it gets dark. So there are at least 18 gangs within the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department.
Are you kidding me?
And I have the names because we love the names of things that I love. So some of the gang names are Banditos, Buffalo Soldiers, Cavemen, Compton Executioners, Cowboys, Grim Reapers, Jump Out Boys, Little Devils, Little Red Devils, Lynwood Vikings, Pirates, Posse, Rattlesnakes, Regulators, Spartans, Tasmanian Devils, 3,000 Boys, 2,000 Boys, and the Wayside Whiteys.
I think the Wayside Whiteys explains it all.
Yeah. So they also had, and I'll have a picture. There's a picture.
Wayside Whiteys. That's the lamest name I've ever heard.
That's what mine would be, because you're creative. I wouldn't be able to come up with this shit. I'll tell you what.
Wayside Whiteys.
I know. So,
oh my God.
So with each one of these little gangs, there's a tattoo that corresponds with it.
No, these are cops.
These are fucking cops.
These are cops that are
By the way,
sworn to protect people.
Yes.
And they have gotten gang symbol. Like, do they not see the irony?
No, I'm going to get into that. There's a whole psychological thing behind this that I thought was very fascinating, which I was thinking about cutting out, but I was like, no, this makes so much sense to understand, like, why this is. But in our notes, there, I have one of my pictures is, there's 4, you can see 4 of these tattoos.
Oh God.
It's fucking incredible.
What is the Wayside Whiteys? Like,
I don't know, that's not in there. But
is it just like...
Is it a white boy like this?
Or I was going to say like the Wonder Bread symbol, like something ridiculous.
Oh my God. That's so fucking funny.
I don't know.
Wonder Bread. Please let me read my handwriting later, because I'd love that to be the title of this episode. Okay,
Wonder Bread!
So officials at various government agencies, including, this is great, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, the LA County District Attorney, the California Senate Subcommittee on Police Officer Conduct, and the United States Commission on Civil Rights have all heard testimony on the violence inflicted on communities at the hands of these deputy gangs for decades. For decades. What?
No, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Sorry.
No, like,
I'm just
this
scratching my head.
This is thing that's talked about, but nobody does anything, because one, like, they'll come back on other deputies who are like, this motherfucker did XYZ to me. They torture other deputies who fucking say things, or maybe don't say. They're just threaten them to like join them. It's like fucking crazy. And of course, the community can't speak out. At least they didn't for a while. It does come down to where like the Vikings get fucked because they're...
And then it's just, I can imagine if you're a new officer and having pressure from older officers. Oh my God,
it's bad. So it's not all the cops in the department. It's like a little group of cops in the department. But
the fact that there were so many hubs, there's some kind of...
Yes.
They know
it's allowed.
About it.
Well, we're under Lee Baca, who was allowing fucking people to run wild in that goddamn county. So deputy gangs have killed at least 19 people, all of whom were men of color.
Of course.
At least 4 of them had mental illness.
Oh, come on,
bro. Los Angeles County keeps a list of the lawsuits related to the deputy gangs, because that's what starts to happen is like a family member gets killed and we're like, and it's like 18 shots. It's like something fucking insane. Like they've gone wild, like the Wild West.
This is so disgusting.
I know. So litigation related to the cases has cost the county just over $100 million over the past 30 years. According to Knock LA, which is like a blog site, they did a profile on the Lynwood Vikings. Private investigator David Lynn has spent years examining deputy gangs in the LA Sheriff's Department. And so this is where he gets into this mentality, which I thought was really, really fascinating. It's not an excuse.
But this is just shocking to me that it's decades long.
Yeah.
And that there are it would be one thing, it was like, okay, there's these 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But that there are so many of them.
Yeah.
That is like crazy.
And they had like symbols, like there's the Lynwood Vikings was an L, which also is flying L, you know, if you went to Lauderdale.
Yeah.
We go flying L's, we do this. Okay, anyway. And also this, but you know, all right. Anyway, so he goes into the little bit of like why this mentality, which I thought was really fascinating. Again, like I'm saying, it's not an excuse of why this is, but it's like you get in there and it's like it's y'all against the world. That's basically how it goes, right? Like that's the thing. So he said in the late 1980s, the neighborhoods in South LA were, quote, wild in a way, right? So it's like lawlessness almost in these neighborhoods. But largely because of the law enforcement, like the way they ran those fucking neighborhoods, you know? So he said, quote,
there's just so much. I know. There's so much that leads
poverty,
inequities. I mean,
absolutely. So he said, quote, one of them told me that in order to beat the gangs, like a deputy told him, you had to fight them on their own terms. You had to be like a gang member, and that's their kind of mentality, end quote. Like that's how they went into this, is like, we can't just go out there and be like, hey everybody, I'm your local deputy. It's like, no, they had to almost be like gangbangers to get across this message in their minds. Like that's how they had, that's why they ganged up like this, right? He also said he had his own theories about why deputy gangs are so pervasive within the department, which he draws on from his time as a Marine in Vietnam. And he said, quote, this is a little long, but I think it's really good. Quote, in Vietnam, we served in a place where we didn't belong. We really didn't care what happened to the people who lived there. When it was over, we were going home. We were taught that the lives of the Vietnamese didn't carry the same weight as ours and that of our fellow soldiers. Similarly, Lynwood deputies are paid to drive in to fight a war in a community they have no vested interest in. They spend their days and nights in Lynwood abusing and maliciously disrupting the lives of those who look, act, and live differently than they do. Lynwood deputies now know, as we knew in Vietnam, that their superiors approve of their actions and that there are no consequences for their acts, end quote. Which is incredible. It's incredible to think about that way.
Well, that line about the no vested interest.
That's right. They don't live there.
They don't live there. They don't care what happens there. They want to roll in and act like they are controlling a situation that they have no understanding about.
Right. Absolutely. So the Lynwood Vikings refer to their gang as LVS 25, which is the Lynwood Vario Sheriff Station 25. And you would see that marking all over the place. Like they're tagging shit. They would tag walls and shit.
Are you?
No, this is a fucking gang, bitch. This is what we're doing.
So this is like the gang wars that they're engaging in with actual LA gangs. Like
yeah. So the August 1990 issue of ALADS Dispatcher, which was the official newspaper of the Association of Los Angeles Deputy Sheriffs, printed a photo of 3 Lynwood deputies flashing that Viking hand sign that I showed you, that thing. An anonymous Viking told the newspaper that, quote, it's the neighborhood, the environment, what we're up against that makes us Vikings. You have to have a strong ID out there because of the minority element. It's like a war, end quote.
No, but this isn't a war.
No, and by the way, this is in 1990 which means all the deputies in that who get that newsletter read this. Like this isn't. We are now openly talking about what we're doing
on a community.
Yeah. The Los Angeles Times reported that the Lynwood station boasted a, quote, a map of Lynwood in the shape of Africa, the racist cartoons of black men, and the mock ticket to Africa on the wall.
Oh my God!
This was in the station. According to the private investigator who I mentioned earlier, David Lynn, regular activities for the Vikings included murder, assault with deadly weapons, trespassing in homes, and torture. He said, quote, the people were just terrified. If you were a black or brown person walking down your street, it's fair game. It's really not that much different than from today, end quote.
And for people living in those communities where there is gang violence, and then you have a police gang that you don't feel safe with, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Who are you going to...
And you can't leave. Where are you going to go?
Oh my God.
So the Vikings, like I said, spray painted walls and power poles around their jurisdiction to mark their turf.
Oh, these guys are such...
An LVS 25 tag even reportedly turned up at the Los Angeles County Criminal Court outside of the door of Judge Lance Ito, who oversaw the O.J. Simpson case.
Oh my God. That guy.
That's a long troll. We are trolling him for a long time with this.
Everybody hated him so much.
So they're over there fucking tagging his wall outside his office.
He would sit, the way he would sit. It was just
doing this whole thing. So 2 deputies were reported seeing LVS 25 carved onto 2 additional vehicles. The Vikings even adopted street terms to communicate with each other, referring to members of their little gang as homeboys.
Oh, come
and
on!
veteran officers as OG.
Oh my
OG.
God. Oh my God. like the irony of this.
It's so
like,
dorky.
I can't get past it.
It's like fucking.
I can't get past
it's
it.
Like,
they don't see what they're doing.
But they're fucking dorks too.
Oh my God.
Yo, OG.
Yeah.
Are you fucking the fuck out of here, white boy? What the fuck? OG. A group of Vikings who covered the early morning shift called themselves the OGCF, which means Original Gangster Crime Fighter.
Oh my.
Then later they would incorporate like Spanish slurs for black people. Like they would say, yeah, it was girl, this is crazy. So in 1985, the Vikings found a new set of victims, other deputies. Deputy Kathy Kay recorded
women. Okay.
Yeah, but there's women like also that are in the gang. So this woman went after another officer. So Deputy Kathy Kay recorded former Lynwood Lieutenant Walker Force's his name was Walker Force, personal car as stolen into the county computer. So she goes into the computer and puts another deputy's personal car has been is stolen. So if a deputy rolls up behind him and runs his tag, it's going to come back as that's a stolen vehicle, right?
Oh my God, that's dangerous.
So she also said the driver was armed and dangerous in the documents.
Well, isn't that a crime?
Yeah. So she was charged with making a false criminal report, but was ultimately acquitted by a jury after a 10-day trial. Force's testimony illuminated the tactics this officer has in the trial for Walker Force, whose car was reported stolen, has to testify at the trial, and so he starts saying all of these things that they've been doing to him and other
now
officers.
It's on the record.
Right. So his testimony illuminated the tactics the Vikings employed to harass other sheriff's deputies members. He testified that he and other top Lynwood brass were reportedly harassed by fellow deputies. They're going after the people in charge of the department. They don't give a fuck. So he said,
because they think that they're tough.
Yeah, and they're going to get away with it. Wow. Look, she just got off on this trial, right? Like, that was it.
Wow.
So he said the captain of the station at the time, Nick Popovich, had obscene phrases spray painted in his parking spot. Force received prank phone calls, had the fender kicked off his car, and received a Valentine's Day gift with a dead rat inside. Oof. He also said the deputies tried to run him down in their car. In a separate police report, Force wrote that 2 hearses were dispatched to his house at 3 a.m. In 1989, Captain Bert Cueva arrived at the Lynwood station and publicly pledged to phase out the Viking symbol after a resident expressed concern over how it was perceived in the majority people of color neighborhood. The new captain said he knew of at least one instance where the gang's tag was scratched into the horn of the steering wheel of a patrol car. Cueva removed a large... What
kind of behavior is this?
Cueva removed a large Viking flag hanging in the station and replaced it with one showing representation of the area. And of course, this angered the Viking members, and they stole the flag. Of course. My God. Members of the senior brass were subjected to constant harassment from the deputy gang members. Sergeant Pippin, a black man who was later became a member of the Vikings, he received a loaded gun in the mail, rigged to fire upon the package opening.
So, did he just join because he's like...
Probably.
I got... This harassment needs to stop?
Who wants to get...
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Are these people going to jail for attempted murder, for harassment, for terrorism?
Girl, no. Please. Okay. Sergeant Stan White allegedly had dead dogs placed in the back of his car, animal feces placed under the hood of his car,
Jesus.
Cow tongues hung in his locker, and guns pulled on him. He was eventually relocated outside of the Lynwood station. They're just like, peace, get me out. Just peace. Let me get the fuck out of here.
I mean, I don't understand. Where's the HR?
Yeah, Clifford
Where's
Yates.
the HR department?
Oh, please. Yeah, they're getting dead dogs put in their fucking trunks.
Yeah, where does the police
And then they
go
continue to oust
are
their
hurting
superiors.
them?
Like, they would do this, and the superiors would be like, please transfer me, and they'd put somebody else in there, and then that would happen. Like, this was just all that would happen for decades, right?
But who's the high level?
That Lee Baca. That Lee fucking Baca. Who was,
right,
listen to episode, what did I just say, 73? He's fucking corrupt as hell. Remember, that's the one, Tina, where they found there was all kinds of horrible shenanigans happening in the jails, and the FBI was investigating secretly, and they handed an inmate a phone, and they found the phone, and they looked at the phone number, and it went back to an FBI investigation, and they're like, oh shit, they took that prisoner and transferred him and changed his name and put him in another jail.
And they hid him for years. Yeah. I don't know if it was for years, but
that's who we're dealing with.
Yeah.
This is who we're dealing with.
Wow.
Okay. So, to join the gang, the deputy had to be willing to do things like falsifying reports to prove loyalty to fellow deputies. James Mueller, a civil rights attorney who went on to pursue cases against the Vikings, says this mentality is common throughout law enforcement. And he said, quote, since 1988, I've been doing this, and I've never ever seen a deputy or police officer report another officer for excessive force, end quote. So this is normal. Like, they're never going to come out. It's that thin blue line. Or whatever it is,
and again, like, who protects the police from the police?
Right. It's very upsetting.
Where do you go?
This is the scary part. Like,
where do you
go?
go?
Like FBI, right? Like, that's all we can really do. So Lynn, that private investigator's investigation confirmed that the Vikings would award tattoos to members who prove themselves. And each member of the gang would get a number tattoo. The highest number that they found was this 998.
So and that's like initiation, like gang initiation.
So whatever you did to break the law, there's a code that goes with it, right? Like you call like, hey, code 143. I just whatever something happened. Like there's codes that go for the radio,
right?
And this 998 symbol would be tattooed on you, and that stood for officer involved shooting. So if the officer shot somebody, that's like a reward in the gang. You get this 998 tattoo. And it was a mark of pride.
This is like
it was a mark of pride.
Like a perverted, like getting your Girl Scout badge.
Yeah.
Wow.
998, I guess, was the one that
Wow.
Yeah. So while the gang was mostly made up of white men, they would occasionally recruit deputies of color, like Paul Tanaka, who was Asian American. The gang also added some Latinx and 4 black members, but deputies of color who joined the group had their tattoos modified to denote their heritage. So they weren't allowed to really get the same tattoo as the white guys.
I don't even know. This is so beyond shocking to me.
So March 7th, 1988, Tanaka was involved in a very controversial killing of a Korean American in Long Beach, sparking outrage among the Korean American community leaders. Hong Piao Lee was shot and killed by Tanaka and 4 other deputies following a car chase. Like, it was 18 shots. It was a lot. And the deputies said that Lee tried to run them over, but there was witnesses that were like, that didn't happen.
But why were they chasing him down? Do you know, like, he had
a past. I read a lot about him, actually, because his parents were he was a first generation. So I read a lot about how the first generation is torn because there's so many ways that their parents are very old school, but they're American. The kids are American, right? So they're like, how this is. This is how you were, raised. But it's like very like traditional versus, but I'm American, and so he really couldn't. He had a hard time like being in both worlds. He got into drugs and things like that, but. He had not a warrant, but he had a ticket out for him. And if he had gotten if he got another ticket for something, he was going to get into a lot of trouble. Okay. And so his family was saying he was running because he didn't want to get in trouble. It was some sort of traffic stop.
So it wasn't.
And they chased him.
He didn't do anything major.
No, but he was afraid of what the outcome of that would be.
And then they just shoot him 18 times.
And he gets shot 18 times, and he gets killed. And they, said, he tried to run me over. It was like a whole thing. But of course, because America. The deputies were later found to have been justified in shooting by the district attorney's office. But the family did sue, and the sheriff's department had to settle with them for $1 million, which is not a lot. No. So what happens? A lot of families and people in the community started to approach attorneys and were like, my family member was killed.
Yeah, enough
beating
already.
People to an inch of their death. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, but all these attorneys were like, we can't, there's no winning cases against cops. Like it's very hard to prove these cases. And so what they decided to do was like a class action lawsuit.
Okay.
To like pile all these cases together and be like, here's all this evidence of shit that's been going on, and like maybe we'd have a better chance, right?
Yeah.
So in September 1990, over 24 civil rights attorneys compiled their claims and filed this class action civil rights suit in federal court. The case was met with skepticism by the local press, and many of the victims' stories were ignored or forgotten, right?
Oh,
because
great
cops,
press.
like,
yeah,
you know,
great newspaper.
yeah.
Reporters.
And at the time, many held the belief that police and district attorneys could do no wrong. Like this was, you know, the cases weren't won, or cases were like charges were dismissed against these police. So a lot of the sheriff's department was like, they're not gangs, they're social clubs.
Oh,
like they're
okay.
they're just really good friends hanging out.
Oh God.
In October 1991, U.S. District Judge Terry J. Hatter Jr. issued a preliminary injunction directing the 8,000 officers and 4,000 other employees of the sheriff's departments to abide by department regulations, particularly those dictating when deputies can use force and how to conduct searches. So this judge is looking over all these things, and he's like, what the fuck is going on there?
Going on?
In the finding, Hatter wrote that a, quote, neo-Nazi white supremacist gang of deputies exists, while policymakers in the department tactfully authorize deputies' unconstitutional behavior, end quote.
God.
Like, he's basically saying, you have white supremacist gangs.
And you're letting it happen.
That's right. As court proceedings for the federal class action suit dragged on, the Vikings continued to wreak havoc on the residents of Lynwood. On May 7th, 1995, a 24-year-old Jose Neves was shot in the back during a botched raid. Like, again, like, you going into someone's house that you don't have going the wrong house and you shoot somebody.
Yeah.
Neves was also a witness to one of the incidents documented in the federal lawsuit.
Oh. Coincidence.
Hello.
Coincidence.
How about this? 5 days later, young crowd member Freddie Fueva shot and killed Lynwood deputy Stephen Blair in retaliation. So now we have
a fight.
Gangs versus gangs.
Oh my God.
At Blair's funeral, sheriff deputies passed out lapel pins bearing the Viking symbol.
This is so beyond shocking to me.
Yeah, so a month later, the federal trial begins, and the case went to a jury trial and focused on Darren Thomas, who was taken from his home to the Lynwood station and beaten. So they're focusing on one case.
Yeah.
In the lawsuit. The county moved to settle, and the plaintiffs celebrated their victory. So they were awarded $7.5 million with an additional $1.5 million earmarked for sheriff's department's reforms. The Los Angeles Times reported several weeks later that attorneys for the county estimated that if all the class action Lynwood cases went to trial, the potential damage and attorney fees could have reached $18.9 million.
Wow.
And of course, then the Lynwood station is shut down.
Yeah.
And all of the officers went to other stations.
Oh, great.
That's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
No other repercussions.
No.
I mean, some of them have to still be. Well, this is 20.
So the only one that I focused on that Paul Tanaka he's in prison because that went on. But with the
rest of them are probably all retired now.
Yeah, that's it.
Retired, collecting that pension.
Yeah.
Pension.
But apparently these gangs still exist. Like these gangs are still
that's
happening.
What I'm wondering. Like, did they not? Like, I can't imagine it disappearing.
No.
They probably just got smarter about covering it up.
Yeah. I know. Isn't that terrifying?
It's
because when we started to do this work, 5 years ago with political work. I remember being in a meeting, and it was basically talking to white women about wake the fuck up kind of meeting, and I was like, oh, right?
Yeah.
They say if somebody breaks into your house or something happens, who do you call? And we're like, the police. And they're like, we can't call the police. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Where the police aren't on your side, and you don't know how it's gonna go if you call the police.
Yeah. I mean, it's frightening.
It's upsetting. I know. All right. Well, what do we got going on today with you?
All right. Mine is short. I was going to say short and sweet, but it's not very sweet.
Oh, God. Sweet and sour?
Sweet and sour.
Ew.
Short and sour.
Short and
All
sour.
right. So today.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you the story of Daniel Peggs.
Okay.
So after years in education, first as a teacher, then as a principal, Daniel Peggs was elected as superintendent of the Altoona School District in 2019.
Is this Florida?
But it's Wisconsin.
Okay, sorry.
But after an FBI probe, Peggs is arrested for child trafficking.
No! No! Oh, been so long since you've done a child fucking story. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, this story. So our story takes place in Altoona, Wisconsin. And at first, when I heard Altoona, I was like, oh, Pennsylvania.
I think there's Florida too.
Yeah, and I think there's a Florida too. But this is Wisconsin, and it's in Eau Claire County, and it's fairly small. It's 8,000 people, like, in this whole...
Wow.
And, you know, there are some high schools down here that have, like...
Yeah.
Half that many people just in the school.
Yeah,
so this is very tiny.
Dang.
The nearest big city is Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And that's about 200 or so miles away. So this is a small kind of area. And the Star Tribune reported that the school district, the entire school district of Altoona, had about 1,600 kids. So that's like from K through 12. So again, a very small, teeny tiny little area. All right, so I have a little bit of background on this guy. He went to high school in Green Bay. He went to college at the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. He earned a BS in secondary education, which is a typical, like, a 6 through 12 certificate. Then he earned his master's from Concordia University, which is like one of those online schools for educators. I mean, it's not like... I don't want to say it's not super rigorous, but I don't think it's super rigorous. And he got his EDD, which is his the doctorate in education, from Edgewood College. And he was pretty young when he got elected as superintendent, because prior to that, he worked as a 7th grade science teacher for 4 years, then as a principal of Altoona Middle School for 5 years. So he was like in his early 30s when he gets elected to the school board. Yeah. And according to the Green Bay Press Gazette, when he was elected, he wanted to help rebuild trust in the district. And he said at the time, quote, "The staff here are top notch and the families have supported me. It seems like the right fit." So he was very engaged. He was, you know, this young, vibrant, energetic guy, and he would post pictures online.
I'm already suspicious.
He would go to the football games. He'd go, you know, to the plays. Like he engaged in all the activities and was, you know, within the community. It wasn't like he's this superintendent and he's not, you know, and like just sort of helming the ship. Like he really painted himself as someone who cared and as a family man. He would bring his wife and his 4 daughters. Like,
oh my God.
To the events. So like, you know, everyone just kind of like this guy.
Oh God, this is not going to end well.
All right. So let's just jump into what happened.
Oh God, help me.
So WQOW News 18 reported that for months, Peggs engaged in sexual acts with a minor. The allegations were that Peggs met up repeatedly with a 17-year-old. He also met her along with other men to have group sex with her in exchange for money.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
No!
And he also filmed these encounters.
What?
Yeah. So Peggs claimed that he was unaware of her age and he thought that she was 19, and supposedly she showed him some sort of like very realistic ID that indicated she was 19, but
like that matters.
I know there's a couple different sources, and one says that like when he supposedly learned of her age, he still kept photos of her on the phone.
Oh my God.
Things like that. And the victim claims that he knew how old she was the entire time.
Of course.
And so I'm going to default to the victim here. And
absolutely good.
Her. The U.S. Attorney's Office from the Western District of Wisconsin reported that the victim came forward when she was 20 years old.
Oh my God,
and said she was
girl.
Exploited by several men when she was 17, and Daniel Peggs was one of them.
Oh my God.
So, you know, she had those encounters, and then at 20, like, she came forward. So, like, clearly this is something that she felt traumatized by.
Yeah, she wasn't that into it.
Yeah. So apparently,
fucking assholes.
The victim met a man named Brian Ragon at a Renaissance festival in Minnesota in 2015.
Oh my God.
So the story is taking place in Wisconsin, but she was at this Ren Fest in Minnesota. And for those of you who don't know what the Renaissance Festival is,
please, come on.
It's this traveling festival where it's like, you know, everyone's dressed up in the Renaissance clothing, and they have like the big chess games, and you drink the mead, and you know, God. It's whatever. They come here every year.
Yeah, I've never been. I kind of am interested.
Yeah. Oh, I've gone.
Oh, I'd like to do it.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you a story about the Renaissance Fair.
Is it safe for Patreon?
Oh, I could do a Patreon.
Okay,
we'll do
cool,
a Patreon.
Cool. You better pay that money. You want to hear it, y'all.
Oh my God. So according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, they met at that fair, and then they each go back home. So she goes to Wisconsin, and he was from North Carolina, right?
Okay.
So he goes back, and when He went home, he starts posting pictures of her on Craigslist for group sex encounters in Wisconsin. So he engages with her, and somehow this is, he convinces her to do this. And the victim, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, she, had a pretty rough upbringing.
Well,
she was using drugs, and she was doing sex work from 15 years old. So then she encounters this man who takes advantage of an already bad situation for this girl and sets up this whole Craigslist thing.
I have a thing. I'm trying my best. I think it's my age. I know I'm pro sex work. I get it. I totally do.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that's just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, it's just so fucking sad because that kind of thing, like,
right.
How do you really know? And it's like, and it's also, if somebody's doing sex work, even at 19.
Right.
I don't know. I'm so torn. I love a Cardi B. I love that wet ass pussy song. I fucking love it. Yes. I could rap it for you right fucking now. Megan Thee Stallion is like just graduated a few months ago, got her fucking, I think, master's degree. And like these are brilliant women who are advocating for you to use your body to pay their tuition. Yeah. To pay their bills. And I love this idea of like
that empowerment.
Absolutely. I fucking love that. It's like you have something that someone's going to pay for. Like, I totally get it.
It's the oldest profession.
It is. And I support it, but I also question like this kind of thing. Like there is what has happened.
What has happened?
And it's not necessarily somebody who's been victimized already in their life. It could be like just someone who's owning their fucking shit. And I applaud it. I do. But I do hesitate. And I think it's an older mentality. I do. Like these younger women today, they are free and open and do these things.
Which is lovely.
Like we have a friend who advocates for this kind of thing, and I totally get it. There's a part of me like this where I go, but is she a victim of something? Right. Has something happened? You know what I mean? Like there's two different kind of women there. Right. I don't know. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think that there are women who have that ownership of their body, and this is something that and to me, it's that's amazing. That they are fully like, this is what I want to do. Yes. But then I think there are victims who are. I mean, we have human trafficking. Right. We have these other things, and this situation seems like an adult male who saw something in this girl and set this thing up because she is still a minor. Yeah. And she was vulnerable. And I feel like if there ever is going to be a situation where a man can take advantage of someone and victimize them, they do it. And so they're not all good guys, right? Like this is it just scares me. It's a little scary to me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. No, it's important. I think it's an important conversation. I would love to talk to just someone about those different boundaries.
Well, I'm going to try to get her on the show because she's going to start a podcast, and I'm going to try to get her on the show. And I'd love to do because it's
an important conversation to have.
She's very bright, and and I think she could beautiful, and I think she could totally bring a point of view to this that. I mean, I respect all points of view, but, like I said, I worry about these poor girls. I worry about these girls. Please, God, help them.
So Peggs was one of the men who answered the ad.
Oh, God, this fucking guy.
But when he answered it was under an alias of Jake Thompson. And Ragon then told Peggs to get other men for the group sex meetups. So Peggs answers it, and then he's like, hey, can you get some other guys and get this thing happening? And Peggs allegedly got the hotel room. He met with the girl. He brought in other dudes and recorded these encounters that then he would send to that guy because he wants to see.
This is so insane.
So he and Ragoon, I don't know if it's Ragoon, kept in touch to keep these encounters going. But he also met up with the victim individually, too. So he would have these group sex encounters, and then he'd meet with her separately. And WGOW News 18 reported that this went on from October 2015 till about May 2016. So he wasn't superintendent at the time, but he was like principal of a middle school. And the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel also noted that during one of these encounters is when Peggs learned that she was underage. And supposedly they didn't have any other encounters again until she turned 18. But again, he received photos of her after he knew, her age, and he kept them. And I want to note that other sources indicate that he did know the entire time. So there are these two conflicting narratives kind of happening.
Please, he fucking knew.
And
calm down.
I know. This is, for me, this is a man who's exploiting this girl.
Absolutely.
And she came forward to the police. So he trafficked her to other men for these group sex encounters. So to me, someone doesn't go forward to the police unless they feel victimized,
Absolutely.
And for her to wait all these years,
that's right. Sat with her.
And it's hard.
Maybe she got sober. Who knows what happened? But she's understanding that she was fucking traumatized, and she's a victim of these fucking people.
And I'm sorry, 17, 19.
These are children. 20.
She looks young,
Tina,
give me a break.
Let me tell you something.
Give me a break.
Let me tell you something
give
right
me
now.
A break.
I went last night. I went out in Fort Lauderdale with our friends for that first pub crawl.
Yes.
It was incredible. I haven't been in downtown Fort Lauderdale out at night.
Ooh.
In probably 20 years.
That sounds fun.
The kids in line. The kids in line to get into bars. They look like my daughter to me. They look like teenagers.
Yeah.
They're 21.
Yeah.
But they're so young. They look like little babies. Come on.
Yeah, they don't.
They're not cooked. Not fully cooked. I mean, 20 years old. My God. That's so crazy.
Yeah. So when she came forward in 2019, an investigation gets launched.
Oh, when you look at me like that, I know something's about to happen.
And in February 2020, Peggs is arrested. So at the time, WQOW News 18 reported that the Department of Justice's indictment alleged that, quote, Peggs recruited and maintained a relationship knowing that the individual was a minor and would be caused to engage in a commercial sex act.
Oh, God.
All right, so that's what the Justice Department put out.
Yeah.
Right? I also found reports that indicated that along with the video of the victim, Peggs had other instances of child porn.
Oof.
One may have involved a child under 12. However, the Leader Telegram reported that he may not have known about those files because it was buried in music files that he downloaded. So back in 2008, when everybody was downloading stuff from LimeWire, I don't know if they were still doing that then, but dumping this music and in there embedded.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so I'm like, oh God,
what the fuck's on the computer?
We used to download.
I got a PC here. I'm gonna go burn that shit. Holy cow!
So the charges were 1, sex trafficking a minor, 2 counts of producing child porn.
Oh my God!
1 count of possessing child porn, 2 counts of receiving child porn. And after Peggs is charged, he's placed on house arrest. And in March 2020, the school board fires him. And rightfully so.
Yeah, and the pandemic
and the thing, I know, and then the pandemic.
Double
the thing
punch.
that is, he's in education. And in education, we're constantly learning about you have to watch these videos on human trafficking, on this stuff. So this is stuff that
he's aware.
He's aware, and you have to recognize, and he is knowingly participating in this.
Oh my gosh, this is awful.
So former school board president Robin Elvig told Up North News, quote, Peggs is the last person you would have thought would be involved with a crime like this. We thought we had found the right person to take us to a better place. And then this happens, and it's so devastating.
Yeah.
And a parent had this to say to WAOW News 9, quote, you never expect it in a town like this. Everyone knows everyone. Having something like this happen is just shocking and disturbing. What if it was one of my kids and I don't know about it?
Oh my God.
And a former student from the middle school where Peggs was principal said, quote, he was one of the best principals we had. Just kind of don't want to believe it, especially for Mr. Peggs, who we have all grown up to know, to love.
Yeah, it's a betrayal.
It's a betrayal.
I mean,
it's a betrayal.
I don't know. It's so insane. It's so insane.
Yeah.
But that's how it always is. It's always he was the nicest guy.
Nicest guy.
And
I want to clarify that this girl was not a student in the school district.
No.
That she was not a student of the school. There was nothing like that.
But even
she's
nice,
still a child.
Absolutely. But the nice guys they're overcompensating a little bit too much. You know what I mean?
Woo.
Oh, he's involved in this. He's involved in that. He's a little too involved. This just happened. I think in Texas something came out. There was a wrestling coach, and they found all kinds of shit. And he's been coaching one-on-one, all this stuff for years, and they found all kinds of shit on his computer.
And we hear that all the time,
God.
So during all of this, Peggs' attorney tried to say that because there were so many men involved because of the group sex encounters, that somehow the victim has conflated her account and attributed her encounters with other men all to Peggs. She's just confused about who it was.
Well, there's going to be no confusion when you die, fucking lawyer. You're going straight to hell.
And these attorneys,
this is insane.
That's the one thing with the law that, like, I don't know
how do they do it?
Yeah,
how do they do it?
Disgusting people.
Oh my God.
And everyone has the right. Like, I understand that. But still, like, I mean, it takes a certain kind of person.
Shameful.
It takes a certain kind of person.
Wow.
WQOW News 18 reported that in July 2021, Peggs pleaded out. So he took a deal.
Okay.
And at the time, he pleaded solely to possession of child pornography. And the judge, who was James Peterson, he accepted the plea. And that plea did carry a maximum 10-year sentence. And according to that same news site, WQOW News 18, Peggs was sentenced in federal court to 8 years in prison and 10 years of supervised release.
Wow.
And Peggs had this to say: "I should not have been doing what I was doing, and I'm sorry." Judge Peterson had this to say: "There were red flags all over the place because the victim looked so young. As an educator, he should have been alert of the vulnerabilities." I mean,
there is no excuse for this.
And the U.S. Attorney's Office did note that the judge did not really believe that Peggs didn't know she was a minor, and basically Peggs would do whatever it took to hook up with this girl. Like, the judge is like, "Okay, you're taking this plea deal, but, like, I know, like, you know, like he said, like, the victim looked young. Like, you knew. You, of all people, should know because you're trained in this." Like,
so, I wonder, but he never had any other encounters that we know. Well, like, maybe there were more that we don't know about with other girls.
With other online. Who knows? Who knows? So I feel like it sucks that he took this plea because he just has this, like, he doesn't have the trafficking charge, right? It's just the porn charge. And when I was reading about it, because I was like, this doesn't seem to be harsh enough. Like, this guy's an asshole, you know? But when I was reading, several articles were talking about how, like, in cases like this, like, a plea protects the victim. Okay. Because if it had to go to trial, she would have to testify. She would risk being attacked, like having someone, like, you know, bring up that she's been a sex worker since she's 15, or her drug, you know, like, it's just going to be an attack of this victim, and which is probably going to be another traumatic event for the victim. And so in the end, it's better for the victim to just have the plea, like, he's going to jail, and like that they don't have to go through,
I mean, his life's fucking
something
ruined,
traumatic.
So
and according to WQOW News 18, she did read a victim statement at trial, and she said, "The emotional toll it took to watch him come and do this to someone his student's age left a black hole in me."
This baby.
I know.
She's so brave, though, to go up there and speak.
Yeah. So the aftermath. So that guy, Ragon, like, the guy who originally, like, put the Craigslist
That's what I was going to ask. Where's this guy?
He was sentenced to 20 years with 30 years supervised release. So while this was happening in Wisconsin, boom, North Carolina, they take him there, and he goes down.
I was hoping you were going to say something like this. Thank God.
Yes. And
this piece of shit.
I mean, what a
He must have been doing that to other girls, too.
Yes.
Come on. 20 years.
So after release from prison, Peggs will also have to register as a sex offender for 15 years.
Yeah, he's over it.
Ron Walsh was put in as interim superintendent. Peggs did not receive any salary while this went on, and according to the interim superintendent, Walsh, quote, "He's only receiving required benefits. The law requires us to pay out his accrued vacation and personal days, and that will expire, we think, on March 24th. At which time he's certainly going to be unable to report back to work in that clause of the contract. So we think the contract is going to, in essence, evaporate at that point." So they're like, wow. That was 2020. They're like, "You're done. Like, bye." So some points of interest. So again, like, about that pleading out, it's clear like I said, that he got off easy, but he was sentenced in December 2021, and they don't take him to prison until January 6th. And I was annoyed because they were like, that way he can spend the holidays with his family. And I was like, why does he get to spend the holidays with his family?
Yeah, listen, like, you get found guilty, you should go to jail.
Straight to jail. Like, why do you get this leeway? I didn't understand that. Like, it was a little annoying to me. You know, like, goodbye.
Yeah.
His wife, Ashley Peggs, submitted a letter to the court, and part of it read, quote, "I am scared and disturbed by his lack of ownership in the matter and lack of remorse for what he has done.
Damn, bitch!
Even in light of all that has happened, it stuns me that Dan has still never apologized to any of the girls. And she also requested...
The daughters, you mean?
His daughters,
wow.
yeah. And she also requested he get the maximum sentence possible.
Oh my God.
She must have been devastated to find out.
Oh my God. I am shocked by this.
Yeah. No, I was shocked. Like, good for you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You. But like, you never expect them to be like, throw the fucking book in him.
Yeah, no, she...
Good for you, honey.
Pegs' attorney then tries to attack her and try to come after Pegs' wife.
What a piece of shit this guy is.
So this is what she did. But I'm like, oh, I like this girl. So she went on social media and she's like, if you're concerned about this case, write a letter to the judge.
Ooh.
And she put that on there. And so, and people did. And Pegs' attorney didn't think it was fair and wrote, while Miss Peggs has every right to privately and publicly disparage Peggs as a crummy husband, she doesn't have the right to stand in court cloaked as a victim and exercise a victim's rights.
Yes, she does.
Wow.
Maybe not victim's rights, but she's a fucking victim to this guy.
And she's like, you know what? So she says, I'm like, God, I love her. So her response, quote, I reflect on the students and staff that invested trust in him as a prominent, safe figure in the school. And I look at my four girls' faces each day and my heart breaks for the impact this has and will continue to have on them.
It's so good.
On. Like, she does not back down.
No.
And like, so all these letters, like parents, you know?
Yeah.
Good for her.
Oh, I love this.
Good for her.
Yeah.
The community ended up raising $20,000 for her and her girls to help because she was a stay-at-home mom and things got tough. But then I also found that they had a fundraiser because in 2022 she was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, what the fuck!
I'm like,
God.
You know, she's got these girls and like her husband's this garbage guy.
I can't.
And the
never ends.
It never ends. Like this poor woman.
God damn it.
The investigation found that along with that charge, Peggs was a regular philanderer.
Oh, well.
He had affairs throughout his entire marriage with many women.
I was thinking this.
Some were one-night stands. Some were long-term, like years-long relationships. Like, what a garbage guy.
Yeah, but that's why
What a garbage guy.
But that's also why, like, I know this girl was 17 and she's a minor and he shouldn't be fucking with people like young children like this. And the videotaping and all of this stuff. It was totally fucking disturbing monster behavior. But he cheated on her. Right? Like, that's
and
what
not just
it
like,
did.
oh, this one thing. Like,
it'd be one thing if it was like a molesting children.
And then he's their Mr. Family Man at all the events. It's so
That's
gross.
why it's easy for her to get up.
It's so gross.
Yeah, but that's why it's easy for her to get up in front of the court and be like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean?
So one other thing that happened that I thought was interesting, this is the last little point I have, is WQOW reported that this bill went forward as a result of the Peggs case. And it was Assembly Bill 651, and the bill stated that if a parent of a minor, a child 14 or under, wanted to have the child's last name changed so that they don't have to suffer embarrassment or harassment. Ooh. So basically, if a parent is convicted of certain sex crimes, the child's other parent who is asking for the change can move forward without giving any notice to
the other parent. I love this.
And it was placed on the calendar like just this month in February. Wow. So we'll see if it gets passed. And I like the idea because it's got to be hard for kids, especially a kid in a small community like that, to now bear the name of someone who's done these horrible things, and they can kind of move forward.
Yes, I love that.
Without
this is a great bill. This is the kind of work we should be doing.
Yes.
Okay, let's try to protect children, not attack them.
Right.
And also, sexuality and girls and like seeing their father as this like
predator.
Yeah, and just also someone who can't stop himself with the fucking cheating. Like, your view of men is so fucked. It's just awful. It's fucking awful.
Right, and when she says it in the court, like my girls are still going to be feeling this. Like for that lawyer to say, like you're playing the victim.
Oh, this
like
lawyer.
She's got to deal with her children.
Oh my God.
And the crime that their father has done.
Wow.
Like, what a piece of trash attorney that was.
Oh my God.
But that's the story of Daniel Peggs.
Tina. Oh my God.
Men.
I know, it's so fascinating to me because I love them so much.
Yes.
I love them so much.
Yes.
I really do. I can never figure them out though. I don't know what's going on in here. I know what's going on down here. I don't know what's going on up here. Like, I don't get it. I've never been able to understand it. Now I have a son. And even at like 2, when he would like tackle his sister, she'd be like, "What is he doing?" I don't know. Like, I don't understand boys. I don't understand.
Oh my God.
Their way of thinking. I just try to be as you know, kind and supportive of my son as I possibly can be.
I was just talking to someone about this the other day, that like my job just as a mom to boys is to make sure as they grow that they are, and if they are interested in women, and if that's the path that they go on, that they, or no matter who they're interested in, that they are respectful of partners, that they are, that everything has to be consensual. Like, I mean, I constantly have these conversations about respect and love and you know, because they like, if they don't learn that from us, like, what are they going to do? I mean,
I told you this last week. At the end of the episode last week, I was screaming, "Our bodies are nothing. Our bodies are nothing," because that beautiful Mildred Fish Harnack, that beautiful Mildred Fish Harnack, who I did the story on, they dissected her bodies, and I was screaming, "Our bodies are nothing." So when I listened to the show after I'm done editing, I was listening to my bathroom like on a Bluetooth speaker, and my son was in the next room, and like an hour later, he could hear it, but like an hour later, I was taking him to hockey, and he goes, "Your bodies are something, Mom. They are something."
Like, that makes me want to cry. It's so...
And it took me a second to be like, what the hell is he talking about?
So important.
And then I said, oh my God. I said, son, this is like, that's the sweetest thing I've ever heard. You know what I mean? And I said,
but it's important for them to know.
But then I go into my whole thing about, I said, you are a white boy who's going to be a white man. I said, you sit in the most privilege in the whole world. And I said, I need you to use your voices and to say that when it's important, when it's necessary, because we need you. We need you to be supportive of all of these folks who don't have a voice. Like, you need to use it in the strong, best way that you possibly can. You know? I mean, the same thing with, he had a girl that he had a little crush on. I hope he doesn't hate me if he has to hear this. But he told a friend who then told everybody. And the girl was really embarrassed. And I said, you know, we got to have respect, not because my son's a grotesque, embarrassing person, but like it's the age where it's like, don't nobody look at me, don't point me out, don't show me. But I said, you know, you have to have more respect for people than this, and that kind of thing, where it's like, you know, I know that porn is going to be happening soon, and I've had that conversation because he's asked me things, and I say, it's a fantasy, it's acting, it's a movie. This isn't how we treat women. It's just something that's made for whatever.
I had that conversation too, where it's not often, it may not be real representation of what love looks like.
That's right.
And
do not
expect conversations.
I said to him,
to have them.
Do not expect that is what a girl wants or a woman wants, or that's how she wants to be treated. Like, you have to have 100% respect. And when she says, that's it, I don't want this, you stop.
That's it.
You stop and move on. Like, that's not a thing. And if you love somebody and you care about them, you wouldn't continue and try to push or ask. I've had to have the conversation about not asking for photos. Don't send photos. I had that conversation No. I said, nobody ever wants to see this.
No.
Nobody. I said, and then I say to him, because he has a sister who's 2.5 years older, who he fucking adores. Aww. And so I always use her as an example, and I say, what would you do to a boy who asked your sister for this kind of photo, right? And he said, I'd kill him. And I said, okay.
Well, there you go.
Then treat any girl like you would treat your sister.
Yes.
You know, don't ever ask for something out of step like that.
And we also had the conversation, the reproductive rights conversation.
Yeah.
And I said,
I haven't had that conversation.
I said, well, I had it with my oldest. And I said, you know, your job is to stand behind these women, because we don't hear men's voices in this.
Yeah.
And you know, it's...
Listen, here's the other thing that, you know, because
it's a lot of work.
Our oldest are like maybe a year, maybe
no,
they're the same age. Yeah. Like, these kids are hearing it. Like you were mentioning to me earlier, there's students that are talking about these bills that you're not bringing up. They're just talking about them to each other, to each other in the classrooms and in whatever study hall. But like, these kids understand what's going on. My daughter said to me, because I told her about that Don't Say Gay bill, and she said, I heard at school that this thing passed, and I was like, yeah. Like, she's furious.
They're talking about
she's furious about it. So, like, have those conversations. Here's the other thing. My kids hate politics because their father and I were so polar opposites with politics, but you have to get them engaged in, and our kids are more engaged probably than other children, but let them know what's going on in their world and why this is bad and what they can do. And, you know, just like get them involved, or plant a seed about why politics is important. It's not even, I hate that word politics. It's not the politics, because that's more like the game. It's having a vested interest in your future and your life.
Having a voice.
in your community, knowing what's happening in your community.
I mean, we're talking about Ukraine now, and and my son is like, he can't go back. He can't go back to the Soviet Union. Like, didn't he? Like that's going back in time. Like that already happened. Like those decisions have been. Because he loves to read history, and he's like went through a whole World War II phase, and it's just I don't know, like. They want to have these conversations, and he said, he goes, I don't want World War III.
No, well,
and the kids are all talking about this too.
Yeah, that's what my daughter said to me. She said the same thing. She said, Mom, everybody at school says we're about to go into World War III. I go, oh, for fuck's sake! Like, oh my God! Like,
well, and I have older kids who are, I teach from. There's 9 through 12 and juniors and seniors.
Oh, they're going to start drafting, right? They're going to register. Is that what you're talking about? Like registering for the draft?
I had kids go, do you think they'll bring the draft back?
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know. And then I was thinking, and my husband and I had this conversation today, if the draft did come back, if things got to such a dire point that like the draft was necessary, it would be women and men now.
Did they make that law?
I don't know.
Yeah, my ex was always harping about that. He was always my ex was always harping about, if you want to be equal, you should register for the draft. I go, fucking do it. Put it up. I'll support that. Sure, draft women. Who gives a shit? Let's go. What the fuck is that's some argument? Give me a break.
Oh, it's just gonna be interesting.
But also, if you listen to this, you're probably progressive. My last point is this: before our camera dies, is that as progressives, we need to vocally say these things to our children, because you better fucking believe that the other side is teaching their kids. You see them. When I was in 2019, when I was up for the Women's March in 2019 in DC, the day before was the March for Life, and they bust those kids in from every school around the country. You better believe they're having the conversation with their children. So don't be afraid to have the conversation with your children about politics, about things that are happening in their community.
Gotta do it.
It's really, 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 really important that they understand who you are, your values, so they're not learning it from someone else, and maybe they'll pick that up from you if they, agree with you. But anyway,
all right,
let's get the fuck out of here.
Thank you.
Oh, bye.